They say Sultan Mehmed II was an alcoholic, the man who conquered Constantinople at age 21. Here's why that lie matters in 2024. This is classic Orientalist character assassination. Take a powerful Muslim ruler and attribute the things most forbidden in Islam to delegitimize them. They did it to multiple Ottoman sultans, to Mughal emperors, to any Muslim leader they wanted to diminish. Sultan Mehmed II was a serious scholar. He spoke multiple languages. He wrote mystical poetry under the pen name Avni. He built mosques and established Islamic endowments. But one label, alcoholic, and suddenly his legacy is questioned. Here's where it gets strategic. There's a famous hadith: Constantinople will be conquered. How wonderful will be the commander who conquers it, and how wonderful will be his army. The argument goes like this: if Mehmed was drinking alcohol, haram, then he can't be the praised commander from the hadith. Therefore, his conquest doesn't count. Therefore, Constantinople is still waiting to be conquered. Therefore, it's still in play for future political claims. You see how this works? Discredit the man, nullify the conquest, keep the city up for grabs. Fast forward to today. Islamic scholars like Sheikh Imran Hossein promote this narrative. Not just that Mehmed was unworthy, but that modern Turkey isn't even legitimately Muslim. That Constantinople needs to be reconquered. And here's the twist. They're promoting Russia as the righteous ally who should do it. Not Arab Muslims, not Turkey itself, not Greece either. Russia. Why would an Islamic scholar be running interference for Russian geopolitical interests? This isn't about one sultan or one city. It's about delegitimizing an entire Islamic civilization. Ottoman Turks ruled for 600 years. They protected Muslim populations from the Balkans to the Caucasus to North Africa. But if you can convince Muslims that the Ottomans were never legitimate, that they were drunken pretenders to Islamic authority, then you can justify everything that came after their collapse. And that's where this story really begins. The alcoholic sultan story is just the opening move. The real target isn't a 15th century ruler, it's the entire maritime Muslim network he represented, and the agenda goes much, much deeper. Sheikh Imran Hossein says the Ottoman conversion of Hagia Sophia to a mosque was un-Islamic, that it had no precedent in Islamic history, that it soured Christian-Muslim relations forever, and that the rightful owner is Russia. Let's check the receipts. Here's what they don't mention. Hagia Sophia wasn't a regular church. It was an imperial coronation palace, built by Emperor Justinian as a statement of Byzantine power. It was used for crowning emperors. Access was restricted to nobility and the imperial court. Common Orthodox Christians couldn't just walk in for Sunday liturgy. It was a political building dressed in religious architecture. Want to know who really desecrated Hagia Sophia? All sorts of Christians, Catholic and Orthodox. Hagia Sophia was burned and damaged by Christian rioters multiple times throughout Byzantine history. In 532, during the Nika riots, the original church was burned to the ground by Christian mobs. That's why Justinian had to rebuild it. But the worst came in 1204. The Fourth Crusade, launched by the Pope to fight Muslims, instead sacked Constantinople. Christian crusaders attacking a Christian city. They looted Hagia Sophia's treasury, stripped the gold, destroyed relics. Latin sources document what happened next. The building was allegedly used as a stable. Some accounts mention it being used as a brothel. For 57 years, Latin Catholics occupied Constantinople and degraded the very church they claimed to revere. But you won't hear Sheikh Imran making videos about that. When Sultan Mehmed conquered Constantinople in 1453, he found Hagia Sophia damaged and neglected. Here's what he did. Invested massive funds to stabilize and repair the building, added structural buttresses to prevent collapse, maintained the Christian mosaics, covered but preserved, not destroyed, continued repairs for 500 years. When earthquakes damaged it, Ottomans funded restoration. The greatest Ottoman architect, Sinan, personally reinforced it in the 16th century. And for the first time in its history, the building became publicly accessible. Anyone could come worship, not just emperors and nobility. So, no precedent for converting a conquered religious building? This was standard practice throughout history, and it went both ways. When Christians reconquered Spain, every single mosque was converted to a cathedral or destroyed. The Grand Mosque of Córdoba, they built a cathedral inside it, destroying the interior. But somehow only the Ottoman conversion is the unforgivable crime. In modern Greece, Ottoman mosques have been converted to shops, bars, even sex shops. No international outcry, no videos from Sheikh Imran about returning them to Muslims. But when Turkey reconverted Hagia Sophia from a secular museum back to a functioning mosque in 2020, preserving the structure, allowing tourist access, that's positioned as a civilizational crime. The Ottomans spent fortunes preserving Hagia Sophia. They made it accessible to everyone. They maintained it for half a millennium. And here's the key question. Sheikh Imran says, the rightful owner of Hagia Sophia isn't even the Greek Orthodox Church who built it. It's Russia. Russia, who never controlled Constantinople, who wasn't even Orthodox when Hagia Sophia was built, who has zero historical claim, but who desperately wants Istanbul and control of the Straits. A so-called Islamic scholar from Tobago arguing that Muslims should give a mosque back to Orthodox Christians, specifically Russian Orthodox, for geopolitical purposes dressed up as religious correction. Why would an Islamic scholar carry water for Russian imperial ambitions? The pattern becomes clearer when you look at what Russia has actually done to Muslim populations. Vladimir Putin goes on television and cries about what Israel is doing to Palestinian children. He positions Russia as a protector of the innocent, as a potential liberator. Let's talk about Beslan. September 1st, 2004. Beslan, North Ossetia. The first day of school, Chechen militants took over school number 1. They held 1,100 hostages, most of them children. The militants were primarily women, black widows, whose husbands and sons had been killed by Russian forces in Chechnya. Russian special forces surrounded the building. Putin gave the order to use overwhelming force. No negotiation. They used tanks, flamethrowers, thermobaric weapons, vacuum bombs that suck the oxygen out of an enclosed space before igniting, on a building full of children. 334 people died. 186 of them were children. But here's what almost nobody mentions. Many of those children were Chechen Muslims. The school served a mixed population. Muslim children died in that building, killed by the rescue operation that Putin ordered. Russian state media framed it simply, Chechen terrorists versus Russian innocents. The fact that Muslim children were among the victims disappeared from the narrative. The fact that Russia's brutal wars in Chechnya created those desperate widows in the first place, never discussed. Let's talk about what created the Black Widows. Chechnya has been fighting for independence from Russia for over 200 years. In 1944, Stalin deported the entire Chechen population to Central Asia. Around 25% died in transit or exile. When Chechnya declared independence in 1991 after the Soviet collapse, Russia responded with war. The First Chechen War, 1994 to 1996. The Second Chechen War, 1999 to 2009. The capital city of Grozny was more thoroughly destroyed than Gaza has ever been. Completely leveled. The UN called it the most destroyed city on Earth. Systematic rape, torture, extrajudicial killings, filtration camps, concentration camps where Chechen men were detained, tortured, and disappeared, mass graves throughout the territory. Those Black Widow militants, their entire families were killed, their homes destroyed, their lives annihilated. Then they were used by Russian propaganda as proof of Muslim terrorism. And now this same man goes on television to cry about Israeli violence against children. He positions Russia as a moral authority. as a potential protector of Muslim populations, as an ally against Western imperialism. He gave the order that killed 186 children at Beslan, many of them Muslim. He oversaw the complete destruction of Grozny. He continues to support the Kadyrov puppet regime that tortures and disappears Chechens to this day. And Islamic scholars like Sheikh Imran Hossein promote Russia as the righteous partner for Muslims, the fulfiller of end-times prophecies, the liberator of Jerusalem. It's not just Chechnya. Russian bombs killed thousands of civilians in Syria, in Aleppo, in Ghouta, Muslim children. Russia supports China's Uyghur genocide through silence and partnership. 1 million Muslims in concentration camps. Russia says nothing because China is an ally. Crimean Tatars, a Muslim population, were ethnically cleansed from Crimea when Russia annexed it in 2014. Again. But Putin cries about Gaza, and certain Islamic scholars amplify those tears. Beslan is just one massacre. Chechnya is just one genocide. The pattern is much larger. For over a century, Muslim populations across Russia's empire and sphere have been systematically brutalized, erased, and silenced, while the Muslim world stayed quiet. Why the silence? The answer requires us to look at what was destroyed 100 years ago, what network was severed, and who benefits from keeping it broken.